Yeah. What's the reason for delay in this monsoons?
Monsoon actually is a very complex phenomena. Like the monsoon currents are actually starting from the southern hemisphere itself. So in the initial stages, the problem was that the cross equatorial flow that we call, like the flow of monsoon current from southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere, that was not as sufficient as it was required to be. And then there are certain conditions like how the winds should be to at certain height levels for us to declare the monsoon. So that criteria was not matching. In the initial stage, like in the last week of May and all, there were increased rainfall activities over the northern plains of India. So some pressure gradient has to be created for the monsoon currents to reach from Andaman Sea to Indian mainland. So that pressure gradient was not getting created. Further, there was this weakening in the cross equatorial flow. Then there has to be some other complex features like MJOs, we call it, Madam Julie oscillations. So Madam Julie oscillations were not that strong as we were expecting in the last weeks of May. So these were the basic reasons why monsoon is expected to be delayed for this particular season.
When is expecting by
June 6th is the date that IMD has forecasted. We have forecasted for 6th June with a variation of plus or minus 4 days.
So does it affect in any climate change because of this?
Monsoon actually, we cannot say with 1 or 2 years data, we cannot say whether climate change has happened. It requires a larger set of data, like 50 or 60 or sometimes at least 30 years of data we require. As of now, there is no direct impact that we can say like monsoon has delayed just due to climate change or anything. Yes, climate change is something that is slowly and steadily taking place, but directly with this season and all, we cannot directly relate it to climate change.
Yeah. Any rough weathers that you have said because of fishing trawlers which will...
As of now, with these conditions, there is no fisherman warning, but once the monsoon sets in, the surface winds over the sea will be of the speed of 50 to 60 kilometers sometimes. So in those conditions, we'll be issuing weather warnings for fishermen. And accordingly, if the local systems are conducive for heavy rainfall, we will be issuing heavy rainfall also. So with this situation, like the one that we are experiencing today, we are not issuing any warnings, whether it is heavy rainfall warning or fisherman warning. We would request the common public and media to be updated with our website once the monsoon sets in at Goa, like for fishermen warning as well as heavy rainfall warning.
There was mere heat affected by this or no?
Goa is not affected by heat wave mainly because the conditions or the criteria to declare heat wave is different for inland stations and coastal stations.
Okay.
Coastal stations with its benefit of proximity of sea are very rarely affected to heat wave conditions. Here, with the proximity of sea, the temperature always remains within the limits of heat wave. So now, as the clouding also has increased, we don't see any possibility of heat wave over Goa for the coming days.
But in Delhi and all is gone.
Delhi and all inland stations. So the temperature is very likely to increase with the current of air. Like if the current of air is coming from some regions of which is causing higher temperature, then temperature over such inland regions also will increase, like in Delhi or in Hyderabad regions. They are actually not in the proximity of sea. So the criteria for temperature rise also is different, and that criteria also is reached very easily by these inland